Hello there and welcome back. Today I want to talk about a match that I think has been made in heaven, and it's the newly came Easel from Buchla. This is the Easel command with the Octatrack. So far I'm still in the discovering phase, because this synth is definitely something I never experienced before, and it has a particular sound that it's not really my kind of sound. I'm more for round kind of synths like the Vermona Performer. But I have to say that it has a lot of interesting thing going on, and learning the complex oscillator basically is the hardest part, and how you can manage to get interesting tone out of it. I had some, ups and downs with it until today I tried it with the Octatrack, which I think it started making a lot of sense, because with the command you don't have the keypad of the Easel, so somehow you lack some possibility of creating composition, minimal composition. But having the possibility of control the two oscillators with two different MIDI channels, that basically changed everything. And so I will go through what I did, the setup I did with the Octatrack. I have a video on my Patreon where is the first, let's say, dive into the Easel. So you can sign up and check what I did, and I explain how this synth is composed. It initially can be a little hard to comprehend, but then in the end has like a lot of similarity with building blocks of a regular synthesizer. Okay, before going on and explain all of it, usual things I say in a way you can help this page grow. So you can subscribe this page, you can buy from the affiliate link down below, and you can also become a Patreon. Again, on Patreon, usually I go more in depth with most of the scene that you see. Okay, that's it. Let's go back to the composition I was playing before. It's something I'm recording from for an EP. As usual, I really like to limit myself with one instrument, and in this case, it's gonna be the Easel. I'm using, in this case, a found sound like a field recording that I found, and some effect from the Octatrack. The Octatrack, my cat bite here. See, there's always bite. Nice here. Anyway, I think this is a great match because in just two boxes you can do a lot. First, you can sequence the Easel. Second, you can use a lot of cool effects that the Octatrack has, and then you can resample things. So I'm still at the beginning of this exploration, but I wanted to do video, of the work in progress, and maybe in a few weeks I'll be way more in depth with what I'm doing, or I might have sent this back because it doesn't really match my style. Who knows? I'm just glad that Perfect Circuit gave me the chance to try the things, and thanks Perfect Circuit. All right, let's listen again what I was playing before, so we move from there. So, the Easel has two oscillators. One is the complex oscillator, that is this guy here now. And then there's the modulation oscillator that basically was born to modulate the complex oscillator to create the complex sound, right? But you can sequence it on a MIDI channel 3. So right now the complex oscillator, it can be triggered and with the MIDI 1. You can change in MIDI 1 also the tune of it, but you can use channel 2 to specifically sequence the note of a complex oscillator, and MIDI channel 3 to sequence the note of the modulation oscillator. So what happened is that I have on track 3, on a MIDI channel here, I have track 1 that is sequencing the first channel, and this is the sequence. It's weirdly enough, it's a major scale this time, and on channel 3, track 3, I have channel 3. And it's this drone, whatever you want to call it, not drone, but you know, the base. Right now I'm a square. This will be sawtooth. This sign. So, first thing, most people think that Buchla doesn't have a filter. It does, because these two here are the low pass gate. So you can use it as a low pass filter, and as you can hear, it works like a filter, or in combination with could be in combination with the VCA, or just a voltage control, so it doesn't do any filtering. And it's same for the other. For example, I'm using that as a low pass, so it kills a little the high end, and it's nice. So it's a pretty simple patch, and just to go through it very fast, again in Patreon I go more in depth with all the function of it, and I'm still a beginner, but I'm controlling the VCA using the envelope generator, orange. So this is color coded, so this is the out and the black are the in. So the out of the envelope generator goes into the input for the VCA. This is like the attenuator. So from the 0, and here we are. Basically, these work with the, how it's getting complicated and how I express. The Octatrack is sending out gates. The gates can be used, for example, if I put keyboard, the envelope generator will react to the triggers that I put here, right? But I found out some interesting technique that I really enjoy. So the envelope generator could also be open and closed using the pulse sequence, all right? And the pulse sequencer can be controlled in many times, can be controlled by the pulser here, or can be controlled by the keyboard. And keyboard would be the out of the Elektron, like the triggers that I put on this track, all right? So what I did is like I linked the envelope generator on the sequencer rather than the keyboard, because likely would be the same exact result. But if I put it on sequencer, then I have the chance to turn off the gate here. And this is actually a very, very cool thing, because I can create variation of the same thing, because right now I'm having only 2 of them open, and then look, I change just this. So I have a lot of interesting way to change. I can select 3, 4 or 5 stages, I don't know. Or I can open them all. So rather than using the envelope generator as keyboard, that will basically open the VCA for each step that I put on the Octatrack, in this other way, I can differentiate my sequence. So in the record I did, I have this thing going on, the bass, and I can decide open on and have like my how would you call the most emotional moment where everything is going on, and then I can start closing the filter. And then I can block the modulator oscillator in the C note in my drone. And finish my composition. So this is the first interesting thing that I found out. Maybe it could be a very basic thing that a lot of person knows in the Buchla things, but I really enjoy the idea of creating a series of sequences here and then play with the stages here and have a different result basing on what I do. It's a very, I think, powerful feature for live improvisation. That said, I have a few other things going on, not crazy. I put, let's listen just. I put the white here, it's the random voltage linked to the keyboard. So basically it's triggered every time that a trigger is put on the Octatrack. And rather than having the sustain and the sustain fixed, I can use a short bar and send the random voltage to the sustain. So as you can hear, it creates something that changes all the time. And it's still to give, when you do this kind of stuff that are very minimal, I feel that these are the touches that make the sequence, make the composition more interesting. Then what else? I have something going on here. So the low pass gate function in two ways. Or you send a voltage here that open and close, or it can be kept always open. So that's how I was using the bass, like this. But I also sent the pulser here that it's linked to the sequencer. So it creates a pulse following the stages here, and I send it here to the inverter, and from the inverter I put it in the input of the gate. So basically it flips and it has this slow attack, and I can use it to create something interesting, as you can hear. Rather than having a very steady note, I can play with that. Nice, no? What else? I have the random gate here going inside the timbre modulation of the complex oscillator, so it plays with the wave shape. So I can get interesting variation. And that's it for this patch. So you can ask me, what about the effects that are going on? So those are mostly from the Octatrack. There's a reverberation on the Buchla. It's not the best thing after 3 or 4. It had a nice spatial quality if it's just sparsely used. But at the maximum, could be interesting, maybe for transition, maybe for handing a piece, but it's very mudding your sound. So I like to keep it something like that. I can control the volume of the two things separately here. But I think that's about it for the setup of the easel. So let's now check my seat a little, and we'll check the Octatrack. To do this video always I have a very weird field of view. Okay, what did I do? So the easel come out as a stereo, goes inside out input A and B. So I just put my track 1 as a true machine in A-B. From here I'm using, I can hear what's happening from the thing. So of course you have to put a trig to open the audio engine. Track 2 is a neighbor machine, classic. I always do that. So in track 1, so I can use 4 effects. And I have in track 1 a filter. I have a delay. And track 2, I have, for now I didn't use it, a filter, but I usually would put a lo-fi. And effects do it, I have a dark reverb. Then on track 3, I'm putting my field recording. That is just a recording of a restaurant noise that I pitch down and slow the rate. So far I have nothing in track 4, and track 5 and 6 are the recorder. Track 8, track 7 has some kick that I'm not using for this composition right now, and track 8 is my master, where I have a compressor and a delay. So that's it. That is the simple thing that happened there. Let's hear what you can do with the Octatrack. So I made some scene effect, but I just started, so playing with the reverb and the delay, but it's nice. The delay, I have a delay with the cutting a lot of low frequency, because of course I didn't find yet a way to pan the signal of one oscillator and the other to have it separately. I don't think you can do it, but correct me if I'm wrong. I would love to have them going out separately from the gate. Maybe it will happen, maybe no, who knows. And so I have to use this effect on both of the two sequences. Another things that I have set up is that these two tracks record what happens. So I just have to press yes and they will record. And now, as you can see, they're recording. One is recording track 1 and 2, and track 6 is recording the full Octatrack. So what happened now, I set a scene on B2, where I don't hear the income audio, but I would hear what happened here. I did some modification. So right now I'm hearing only what is recorded. If I swing back to scene A, now I'm hearing the live sound. I pumped too much the volume. And now I can create. Now it's the fun part of the Octatrack. It's like a power horse for live improvisation, because say I did my composition, I want to transition to someone else, and now I can create weird thing. And I can go in like all of those interesting for example, I kind of love this idea of having just these two instruments, some field recording, and then have something ready or not as sequences, and then record on the buffers and just have fun. In the meanwhile, say you got to this point and then this weird thing going on, you can create whatever. In this time would be the right time to change your MIDI instructions, so you can slowly fade in back to a new composition. Now I didn't change it because I have nothing ready, but this is how I use the Octatrack also with my Vermona for my live set, completely improvised. So some time ago, creating this weird thing. For example, let's listen to track 6 now. Track 6 is the full recording, with also it had the effects on master, plus also the field recording. I find this super fun. And here it's where you can go very experimental. So say now you have another recording track. You could record what you get here and have a sort of bouncing back between buffering. Very nice. And then again, you can change, you can load a different part, you can change what happened in your easel or whatever instrument you're using, and now and I have something else going on. Of course, it's a setup that leads to a lot of experimentation. Then also here you can just start to go in weird territories using the oscillator to modulate the complex oscillator. My dream is always find things to have a lot of creativity with the minimum amount of stuff. Of course, here what one can add, because I have a track that I'm not using at the moment, I could use an external effect and do a send from the Q out and returning to input CD. So having also that, and that could be the microcosm, that it's always a great idea, or a night sky or whatever. But yeah, it's pretty cool. And so far is the best way I'm enjoying the Buchla. Okay, that's about it. I will probably put a full performance soon of these things you just hear and see how it goes. Meanwhile, thanks for being here and supporting the page. I will see you next week. Ciao.